revived by this new mandate to work collaboratively to rebuild and reposition our country.
President Buhari unveils next level agenda as Nigeria marks Maiden Democracy Day on June 12.
Joint Admission and Matriculation Board breaks cut-off point for 2019-2020 admission into tertiary institutions at 160.
2,000 women and youths benefit from Aisha Buhari Foundation Empowerment Program in Adamawa State.
Such empowerment is sure to affect the whole family and even the community.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we are x-raying the president's speech at the maiden celebration of Democracy Day on June 12th.
Nigerians looked forward to the maiden celebration of June 12 as Democracy Day with excitement, but they were not disappointed with how it turned out to be.
Yes, indeed, Jimmy. You know, it was a dream come true to many, especially those that struggled against the military dictatorship for many decades, lovers of democracy and advocates of social justice and the rule of law.
Nigerians also had another reason to look forward to the day, Kieran, following the postponement of the president's inaugural speech during the swearing-in for his second term on May 29th.
Yeah, you're right there, because many people questioned, you know, why that speech was not made on May 29, right? And we have all seen that there is a reason for that, because there is a well structured speech from the president. Now, having earned the nod of Nigerians to steer the affairs of the country for another 4 years, the people were eagerly waiting to hear what the next level agenda holds for them.
So, Kieran, it was therefore with hope, confidence and optimism that they waited for June 12th, first to mark a day that will remain indelible in the political history of Nigeria, and then to listen to Mr. President.
And the people were not disappointed. It was indeed a speech that was not only Nigerian, but also Pan-African, as it addressed both domestic and continental issues as they concern Nigeria.
You can say that again, Kieran. It took us down memory lane on Nigeria's active participation in the liberation of African countries from imperialism, the country's big brother roles, the support to regional economy, and many other issues.
And it equally reviewed Nigeria's journey from independence, where it planned to birth from the beginning, what derailed the trip, how the president's administration is attempting to take the country back on track, and many more.
It was only in the past, Kieran, that it focused. The president also let Nigerians look into the crystal ball to see the future he plans for the country.
And it was indeed a speech worth waiting extra 2 weeks to listen to, as it touched on security, economy, agriculture, infrastructure, social investment, education, health, and many other issues concerning the nation.
That is why Good Morning Nigeria today is discussing the presidential speech this morning. So what were the salient points in the president's speech yesterday? Why did it elicit such reactions from within and outside the country? What should Nigerians do to support the realization of the goals set by Mr. President? How will the unfolded plans impact on Nigerians? Kieran?
Yeah, and these are some of the questions guests will answer as we discuss the President's Democracy Day speech this morning on the program. My name is Kieran. My pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria, of course, your breakfast show on the largest TV network in Africa. And of course, we're reaching you live from our capital city of Abuja.
And I'm Juma Yusuf, thanking you for joining us on this edition. As usual, we shall present our companion segments, which include newspaper review, business, sports, foreign and entertainment news. But first, let's take the news highlights with Ruth. Good morning, Ruth.
Good morning, Juma and Kieran. Good to see you both. And good morning. Welcome to the news. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari says, despite the huge resistance being encountered from some vested interests, Nigerians have embraced change, and therefore the nation's transition to the next level is a task that must be done. Consequently, a bold plan for transforming Nigeria is underway towards bequeathing a sustainable legacy of peace, unity and greater prosperity. Speaking at the 2019 National Democracy Day celebration, the president described as unshaken his optimism about Nigeria's future.
Our nation, our focus will not be to help the privileged few, but to ensure that Nigeria works for Nigerians of all persuasions.
President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has charged Nigerians not to despair in the face of the daunting economic insecurity and socio-political challenges, but to remain steadfast. In a goodwill message to mark the Democracy Day celebration, the Senate President urged the citizens to believe in the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, adding that the plight of the nation at this particular time is meant to spur it to greatness. The Senate President says this year's Democracy Day is unique in the sense that the nation is now set for a participatory and representative government. He assured that the just inaugurated legislative arm of government has come in with the zeal to deliver by working with other arms of government. And the All Progressives Congress has joined all Nigerians to celebrate the country's new Democracy Day. The party, in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Lanre Issa Onilu, acknowledged the significance of the day in the annals of Nigeria's political history in all ramifications. The party commended President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, which has demonstrated commitment to correct past injustice and celebrate heroes and heroines that paid the supreme price for the democratic freedom that Nigerians cherish and enjoy today. The party therefore urged Nigerians to continue to appreciate the importance and significance of the day by continuously guarding jealously the hard-earned democracy over which so many of the country's compatriots paid the ultimate sacrifice. And a cross-section of Nigerians has noted that celebration of June 12 as Nigeria's Democracy Day should not only be an opportunity for merrymaking, but should be embraced as a unique platform for Nigerians to reflect on the need for selfless service for the development of the nation. They were speaking to NTA's news correspondent Adebola Brookslyn Sunday at the maiden edition of Nigeria's Democracy Day celebration.
Towards consolidation of democracy. A very clear, transparent, open democratic system. And that this is our democracy. This is a freedom in earnest. We thank God for that.
It's been a very, very significant date and very important date, very progressive, and a lot of understanding, mutual tolerance, and sort of cooperation is built in this day.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed optimism that with the new leadership in the National Assembly, the next 4 years of his administration will be more eventful, result-oriented and responsive to the needs and aspirations of Nigerians. This was while receiving in audience the new Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, on a thank-you visit.
Whatever I do is through national interest. For example, the Senate President and you, I didn't know you person to person before I made up my mind. It's just my observation of your performances, commitment to the party and to the country. You have the time for your job. I'm very pleased NTA has picked this priority very well. Whenever I have the time to look at it, somebody is working somewhere.
And wife of the President, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has assured Nigerians, especially women and youths, of her continued support in improving their living standards for a better and prosperous nation. Wife of the President stated this during the empowerment program of 2,000 women and youths in Yola, Adamawa State Capital, Katsi Aisha Buhari Foundation, in collaboration with National Directorate of Employment.
Has been a partner in the empowerment of women and youths and are worthy of our commendation.
I encourage corporate institutions, NGOs, other foundations, and individuals to support the work of the First Lady, Her Excellency Dr. Mrs. Aisha Buhari.
And on education, the cut-off mark for admission into public universities for 2019-2020 academic session is now pegged at 160, as all admissions into various higher institutions will now be done through central admission processing by JAMB. The Registrar, Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, Professor Ishaq Oleyede, announced this at the 19th policy meeting of JAMB Council held in Osun State.
UTME score for admission will be as prescribed by each institution, subject to the respective national minimum UTME score. That is, public universities stop at 160.
JAMB must enforce its laws to entrench standard, but must also continue to collaborate with institutions.
And that's the news for now. Good Morning Nigeria continues shortly with Jumwe and Kirian after this break. Stay with us.
Enjoy the best of African football as NTA, Africa's largest television network and hotspots, Nigeria's foremost sports production and marketing company, bring you all 52 matches of the Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt 2019 live from June 21 to July 19, 2019. Yes, all 52 games will hit your screens in crystal clear digital quality. It's your guarantee of a memorable viewing experience and a wonderful cost-effective opportunity for corporate Nigeria to reach tens of millions of Nigerians. For sponsorship and commercial support, contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. Hot Sports, masters of the game. NTA, you can't beat the rich. NTA Television College Jos announces admissions into 2-year diploma programs in film and television production, television engineering, and broadcast journalism. The sale of forms will commence on the 13th of May and run through 30th July 2019. Admission forms can be obtained from all marketing offices, NTA state capital stations, zonal centers, or at the office of the academic secretary, NTA Television College, Rayfield, Jos.
On payment of a non-refundable fee of 7,500 naira in bank draft in favor of NTA TV College. Applicants can also obtain the forms through the NTA TV College portal at www.ntatvc.edu.nj.
Applicants are required to possess 5 credits in GCE or SSCE in relevant areas of study in not more than 2 sittings, including English and mathematics. All properly completed forms attached with photocopies of credentials must be submitted on or before 30th July 2019. For further inquiries, please visit our website at ntatvc.com or call 0803-3144-383.
NTA TV College, training you to be the best you want to be.
Registrar, Announcer.
From news from the business world, we join Joy Uzo on Business News. Nigeria's external reserves have risen to $45 billion, enough to finance over 9 months of current import commitments, and have witnessed 8 quarters of positive growth in the economy, with GDP expected to grow by 2.7% this year. President Muhammadu Buhari, in a speech at the Democracy Day celebration, said his administration is laying the foundation and taking bold steps in transforming the country and liberating the people from the shackles of poverty.
We will continue to listen to your ideas and plans, not just about how we can secure more investment, but how your plans can help create more equitable economy.
According to the United Nations estimates, Nigeria's population will rise to 411 million by 2050, making it the 3rd most populous nation on earth, behind only China and India. In experts' opinion, inclusive growth remains a challenge in developing economies, which is why the decision by the Buhari administration to do more to reduce poverty is a welcome development. Economists who offered suggestions on the way forward emphasized the need to make it easy for Nigerians to have access to microcredit, creation of more jobs, and a pragmatic step in making the manufacturing sector work efficiently. And still on the economy, the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment says it attracted 139.2
$36 billion investment commitment from 2017 to September 2018 through its various reforms. The ministry made the disclosure on its official Twitter handle, saying the amount was the highest on record. It said that in its efforts to attract investment, it revamped incentive programs for investors, including a new pioneer status regime, and released the first compendium of investment incentives in Nigeria. It established bilateral memorandum of understanding (MOU) of over $50 billion with the UK, Germany and China for local investment commitments. The ministry also said it implemented the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program (GEP), the largest microcredit scheme in the history of Nigeria, granting revolving credit to over 1.5 million traders, artisans, youths and farmers. It said that it jointly executed 25 MSME clinics with the Office of the Vice President, bringing government services directly to the MSMEs in their states of operation. With business news, I am Joy Uzo.
Thank you, Joy, for the business package. We appreciate that. And next on Good Morning Nigeria is newspaper review.
And our newspaper reviewer, Bayo, is here in the studios with us. Good morning.
Good morning, Juma. I hope you savored the Democracy Day yesterday. Good morning, Kirian.
Good morning,
Good morning, Nigeria.
You're welcome. Yeah. We have about 5 dailies this morning to review. Let's begin with the Juma.
Yes, I'll be starting today with the Daily Trust newspaper. Just below the masthead, we have Nigerian Air Force helicopter crash lands in Katsina. You find that on page 6. And donors pledged $70 million to end rural poverty in Africa. And that's on page 17. The bold headlines is there. Buhari promises to assemble strong team, unveils agenda. With a rider, 100 million Nigerians can be lifted out of poverty in 10 years. Names Abuja National Stadium after MKO Abiola. And the picture message is President Muhammadu Buhari there acknowledging cheers from spectators during the June 12th National Democracy Day celebration at the Eagle Square in Abuja yesterday. Kira?
All right. Now to the leadership newspaper for this morning. Directly below the nameplate of leadership newspaper, we have not floated the Naira, says the CBN. The details is on page 5 of the leadership newspaper. DSS warns against the inciting statements is on page 2. And at the lead story this morning, just what Jumai just read, Democracy Day as the kicker. I will assemble a strong team, says President Muhammadu Buhari, with 3 riders here. Federal government will lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, blames religious, ethnic, political leaders for violence, renames Abuja National Stadium after MKO Abiola. And below the photo story, Rwanda crisis, court grants Tinubu Bayo leave to challenge sack. It's on page 25. And at the bottom of the newspaper, we have defend legislature, PDP governors tell Lawan and Bajabiamila. It's on page 6. Zamfara governor meets Miyetti Allah leaders over banditry. And NAF combat helicopter crash land is on page 2. Now let's bring in Bayo now.
Well, thank you. Nigeria marks its first National Democracy Day, particularly on June 12th. And this came 26 years after June 12th, historic elections were annulled, and also 21 years after MKO Abiola, the winner, died. Nigeria was joined by many nations, many friendly nations across Africa, Europe, and Asia to mark the day. At the last count, at least 14 heads of state and their representatives were friends of Nigeria that had come for the inauguration of the second term of President Muhammadu Buhari. In his national Independence Democratic Day address, President Muhammadu Buhari counted Nigeria's blessings as a great country. and he stressed that in spite of resources, the bulk of our strength is in our people, which is a huge responsibility for any administration to develop. He also recounted the achievements that Nigerians have made and urged Nigerians to be good neighbors and good global citizens. Internally, he lamented that intercommunal, interreligious strife and violence are sponsored by ethnic, political, and religious leaders. His administration, he says, is meeting the challenges of security, particularly economy, and also fighting corruption. He admitted kidnapping and banditry are still a challenge, adding that they are now superior strategy and firepower to resolve them. He promised to put together a strong team for rebuilding Nigeria to the next level. He announced the renaming of Abuja National Stadium, Moshood Abiola Stadium. This is part of a gesture to correct injustice of national healing and reconciliation, for peace and unity. And Nigerians are quite observant, you know. They observe that during his first term, when the president was going around Eagle Square, he was greeting people like this with hand fist. Yes. But yesterday, he was greeting people with hand. And they say that the first time, gripping his hand, he was tight-fisted. This time, they are hopeful that everything will flow.
You know, the speech actually excited a lot of people. I was excited going through the speech.
Exactly.
You know,
and it touched so many aspects, salient points, you know, concerning the nation and its existence. And what is interesting, too, from what Bayo just read, is that of renaming the National Stadium to Moshood Abiola Stadium. You know, that stadium, since it was constructed, you know, it has not actually lived up to expectation in terms of activities, you know, national events taking place in that place. And maintenance has always been a problem too in that stadium. But I believe that with the renaming of the stadium, that of course emphasis will be laid on that to see how we can, you know, bring back that national team. Even our national team doesn't play there, you know.
Yes, because it has depreciated.
Yes.
Our challenge is not how to have first-class facilities. Our challenge is how to maintain them. When that stadium was built, it was ultra modern, among the best in the world. But today, it has depreciated so much so that even our national team is reluctant to play there. They prefer to play in either in Akwa Ibom, yes, either in Uyo or in Asaba.
Yes. So moving on, we have the Nigerian Tribune. Just above the masthead, we have another Katsina village head abducted. That's on page 10. And below the masthead, defend legislature's independence, PDP governors tell Lawal Badabia Mila. That's on page 34. Oshomale threat to sanctioners, mere rhetoric, say pro-Ndume Bago lawmakers. That was on page 29. Air Force combat helicopter crash lands in Katsina. You find that on page 2. And the bold headlines, political, religious leaders fueling insecurity, coming from Buhari with rider. We can move 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years, he says. Renames Abuja National Stadium after MKO Abiola. It is not enough to declare June 12 Democracy Day. That's coming from Atiku, the PDP presidential candidate. You find that on page 2 and 4. House state governors groups marked June 12 nationwide. You find that on page 8 and 33. DSS raises alarm over plot to incite ethnic violent crisis in Nigeria. You find that on page 29. Zamfara government to hold traditional rulers responsible for extrajudicial killings by vigilantes. We find that on page 29. And as all over the newspapers, the picture message of President Muhammadu Buhari inspecting the Guard of Honor during the Democracy Day to celebrate June 12.
All right, to the Nigerian pilot. Let's turn to the Nigerian pilot. Below the nameplate of the Nigerian pilot, Atiku's situation different from mine in 2015, says former President Jonathan. It's on page 10. MNJTF raises alarm over ISWAP's massive recruitment. Is on page 10. Now, the lead story. I will deal with troublemakers, says Buhari. There are 4 riders to that. Says we can take 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, that the task is by no means unattainable, renames National Stadium after MKO Abiola, insists Nigeria's future remains bright. And at the foot of the Nigerian pilot, we have some stories there. Bayo will soon rank among the best in development, says Bala Mohammed, the governor. It's on page 10. Announced June 12 presidential poll result. It's on page 11. They didn't let us know who is demanding that. Okay, NAV jet crashes. Authorities launch probe. It's on page 8. Zamfara governor insists on death penalty for killer bandits. It's on page 11. And MKO Abiola Democracy Amati. That's on page 2. Well, on preaching, that's the very last line. On preaching, pastors group support El-Rufai's ban in Kaduna State. That's on page 12. Bayo.
Well, let's start with the issue of the helicopter. One of the helicopters in Operation Sharandaji crash landed in Katsina yesterday. There was no loss of life. However, the Air Force High Command has ordered an investigation into the incident. Also, sadly, 5 persons suffered several degrees of burns when there was the gas explosion in Port Harcourt Mall. The police were very quick in clarifying. The police public relations officer Namdi Omoni said the insinuation that it was a terror attack is false. What happened was that the explosion occurred in the kitchen of the mall. And in Katsina, government have adopted a village head of Labo. That is in the Basari local government area of Katsina. The man identified simply as Malan Labo was abducted by the criminals on his farm near Rugu Forest. The police say they are under their trail. And this is coming 42 days after the Magajin Daura was also abducted. Meanwhile, the Department of State Services has arrested 5 persons during an organized rally at Ibadan yesterday. This came after the department had warned against making inciting statements capable of causing unrest in the country. There are 2 conflicting reports about this. The Punch publishes in a headline that the June 12 rally was stopped by DSS in Ibadan. But the body of the story of that same newspaper said that the rally was a Yoruba Summit group planning to discuss insecurity that was stopped. However, Vanguard says that the rally by Yoruba Summit Group tagged Otoge rally with the team, the future and status of Yoruba in Nigeria Federation. This was brought to an end because DSS has warned about ethnic chauvinism, which is further dividing people in the nation. Can we quickly go to the political developments?
Yes.
The not too young to run has now metamorphosed into not too young to lead. 34-year-old Yakubu Danladi has emerged Speaker of Kwara State House of Assembly. In Oyo, 32-year-old Adebo Ogundoyin emerged Speaker of Oyo State, while in Plateau, Abokinu Ayuba, 34 years, is Speaker of the Plateau House of Assembly. And interestingly, in Sokoto, you have the APC emerging as a speaker in the PDP-dominated state. Aminu Achida, APC, Urundo, beat Abdullah Sidi, who is of the APC and had majority in the House. The Sokoto Assembly has 16 APC, 14 PDP.
Who has majority in the House?
APC has majority in the House. So you see, partisanship, bipartisanship is coming. And that's what also manifested at the National Assembly elections.
So we're seeing the shift to younger generations now taking the mantle of
and the bipartisanship is also coming.
Well, such developments will actually give birth to a better understanding of the practice of democracy in the country. And now we'll go to the editorial for this morning, which is taken from the Daily Sun newspaper. It's talking about boosting the non-oil export sector. We say here that the Nigerian Export-Import Bank, NEXIM, has entered into a partnership with the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, and the Sea Link Promotional Company to bridge the trade, or rather to bridge the waterways infrastructure gap and enhance the country's trade in the economic community of West African states. Now, Bayo, what do you understand? What is the editorial driving at?
The editorial is happening on the essence of diversifying the economy, away from the monoculture of oil economy. And therefore, the areas it has identified is the waterways, which you have rightly read. The second one is also development of ports. Presently, they have identified on Port Harcourt Calabar and Warri to be developed, and the editorial is saying that about 3 billion naira can be earned from such development. It also is looking at agricultural potentials. It is estimated that if we get our acts together, Nigeria could earn about 12 trillion from agriculture. The third area is to consider export. It is pointing out that there was a 500 billion that was earmarked by the central bank, but many people could not access this, and therefore the editorial is happening on the fact that the interest rate of 9% was rather high, and that was why people did not take advantage of it, and something has to be done about it. It also reminds us that not to forget that we are endowed with solid minerals, and if we divert our attention towards it, it also is a good opportunity. And it says that government cannot do it alone. It requires partnership from the private sector to enhance that we are able to develop as fast as possible from all angles and diversify our economy.
All right, sign off.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bayo. It's been a pleasure as always.
You too.
We'll be taking a break. When we return, Good Morning Nigeria continues.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
What's up?
His friends didn't come.
Hey, let's practice.
But you're going out.
Don't worry about me.
Nothing satisfies a mother more than seeing a child grow up. But I know as he sweats, he'll face the risk of germs which can cause skin irritation.
That's why you need the new best ever Dettol Cool. Its new advanced formulation with extra menthol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs and gives your family icy cool freshness.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
This background report by Oyeye Miajai sets the tone for our discussion this morning. You get to meet our guests after the background.
June 12, 2019 will definitely go down memory lane in Nigeria's history, as the first time Democracy Day will be celebrated on that date different from the initial May 29. With high presence of world leaders and Nigerians to witness this day, President Muhammadu Buhari in his speech rolled out policies and plans for the next 4 years and successes of the past 4 years. The president acknowledged Nigerians and Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for free and fair elections, reiterating his administration's respect for the independence of INEC, ensuring all the resources it needed for independence and impartial management of elections in the country were given.
The principal thrust of this new administration is to consolidate on the achievements of the last 4 years, correct the lapses inevitable in all human endeavors, and tackle the new challenges the country is faced with, and chart a bold plan for transforming Nigeria.
Issues of concern to the president remains the intercommunal and inter-religious strife and violence in the country, which maintained were incited by ethnic, political or religious leaders hoping to benefit by exploiting the country's divisions and fault lines.
Some of the challenges still remain in kidnappings, banditry in some rural areas. The great difference between 2015 and today is that we are meeting these challenges with much greater support to the security forces in terms of money, equipment, and improved local intelligence.
Part of the successes of his administration, as emphasized by the president, is that several rail, seaport, and airport projects are at various stages of completion, and that government will open the arteries of transportation nationwide, and as it is, Nigeria has more gas reserves than oil. The president revealed that nearly 2 million Nigerians have benefited from the National Social Investment Program, apart from the Anchors Borrowers Program and School Feeding Initiative, each reaching 2 million recipients. As new elected governors are already hitting the ground running, the president implored all state governors, especially those with large rural economies, to prioritize soliciting of investments in their states in order to develop human capital, reduce bureaucracy and corruption.
We remain resolute in supporting private sector in emphasizing backward integration and export expansion plans.
As the president continues with the next level agenda, critical plans before his government for the next 4 years is to assemble a strong team of Nigerians and allies to implement his government's transformative plans and proposals while extolling plans to reform tertiary and technical education to reposition Nigeria's workforce for the modern technological age.
We will accelerate investments in primary, secondary, tertiary healthcare programs, intervention and infrastructure, as well as in upgrading of our medical personnel to stem the flight of our best trained people. Today, I propose the renaming of the Abuja National Stadium henceforth. It will be called Moshood Abiola National Stadium.
It was indeed a speech that gave hope to the people, elicited patriotism and united the nation towards using its diversity to achieve greatness. But the whole world agrees the country has to be a superpower. So how will the president's speech inspire Nigerians to join his next level agenda? Guest on Good Morning Nigeria will answer these and more shortly.
Thank you, Emi Ajayi, for putting together that report. Now, joining us in the studio live here in Abuja to discuss